Good evening and welcome to Poland Daily. My name is Natalia Moczulska and this is the news. Earlier today, a proclamation of the Accession Council was read in Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland, stating that Charles III has become the new monarch of the United Kingdom. Also, some of the countries included in the community of nations, including Australia and Canada, officially recognized the new king as their ruler. The state funeral of Elizabeth II will take place on Monday, September 19th, at Westminster Abbey in London. The coffin with the body of Queen Elizabeth II left on Sunday from Balmoral Castle in Scotland, where the monarch died on Thursday. First, the Queen's body will be taken to Edinburgh's Palace of Holyrood House, and then to St. Giles Cathedral. On Tuesday, the coffin will be transported to London for 1 day at Buckingham Palace, and on Wednesday, it will be transferred to Westminster Abbey, where it will remain until the funeral on Monday, 19th of September. Throughout the week, the British will be able to pay tribute to the late Queen and pray at the coffin with her body.
It's just very, very sad. But I'm happy I was here to say our goodbyes.
We love the royal family here in Scotland, and we just feel we feel their sorrow and their loss. And yet the world moves on. King Charles now will be crowned after the funeral, there'll be a coronation, and we look forward to him being our new king. So there's a sense of loss and passing, but also there's a sense of celebration in the Queen's life. She was such a remarkable woman, and what she's done and how she's represented our nation has been remarkable, and we love her for that.
In the countries of the United Kingdom, Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland, a proclamation was read stating that Charles III is the new king. The British monarch is also the head of the community of nations, uniting 56 countries that make up the former British colonies and overseas territories. 15 of them still recognize the ruler of Great Britain as their king.
The crown has solely and rightfully come to Prince Charles Philip Arthur George. We, therefore, General the Honourable David Hurley, AC, DSC retired, Governor-General of the Commonwealth of Australia, and members of the Federal Executive Council, do now proclaim Prince Charles Philip Arthur George to be King Charles III, by grace of God, King of Australia and his realms and territories, head of the Commonwealth, and with hearty and humble affection, we promise him faith and obedience.
We, the Right Honourable Mary May Simon, Governor-General of Canada, assisted by His Majesty's Privy Council for Canada, proclaim that His Royal Highness Prince Charles Philip Arthur George is now, by the death of our late Sovereign Charles III, by the grace of God of the United Kingdom, Canada and his other realms and territories, King, head of the Commonwealth, defender of the faith, to whom we acknowledge faith and allegiance. Given under my hand and seal of office at Ottawa this 10th day of September 2022. Long live the King.
In turn, in India, national mourning was announced today in connection with the death of Queen Elizabeth II. The country is a member of the Commonwealth of Nations as a former colony, although the British monarch is not officially its ruler. Today is exactly 200 days since the beginning of war in Ukraine. In the past 5 days, Ukrainians have recaptured more land than Russia has occupied since April, according to reports of the U.S. Institute for War Studies. Meanwhile, in the afternoon, the backup power line at the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant was restored after Block 6 of the power plant was shut down as part of safety measures overnight. Yesterday, Russian forces left Izium, their main stronghold in northeast Ukraine. This happened as a result of the breakthrough of one of the main front lines by Ukrainian forces in the Kharkiv region. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky points out that this is Moscow's greatest defeat since Russian troops were pushed out of Kyiv in March. Our Army's successes are evident in various places on the front lines. Since the beginning of September, the area of 2,000 square kilometers of our territory has been liberated. Currently, the Russian Army is revealing the rear of its positions. I think the best maneuver for our enemies at the moment will be to run away. I emphasize, there is no place for the occupiers in Ukraine, and there will never be. In response to the Ukrainian counteroffensive on the southern axis, Russian forces are still carrying out massive shelling at Ukrainian localities in the Kherson and Zaporizhia oblasts. At least 14 people were injured on Friday in the Russian bombing carried out on the center of Kharkiv. Russians are crazy to think there is an army here. There are neither our soldiers nor military facilities here. There are kids here. This nonsense is a cover that the Russians invented to destroy our education system and our future. I don't see any other reason. Yesterday, the Russian command staff confirmed that it was withdrawing its forces from the cities of Balaklia and Izium. Cities are key points on the supply route of Russian military equipment. We are currently carrying out a maneuver to transfer a group of troops from the Izium-Balaklia area to the territory of the Donetsk People's Republic. During this operation, we are carrying out a series of distractions from the real goals of our troops. According to experts, the Ukrainians are in a better strategic position. The condition of the roads on the Ukrainian side makes it possible to efficiently relocate machinery and equipment along the entire front line. Meanwhile, there are many rivers and streams in the hinterland of the Russian forces that make maneuvers difficult. Russians began to move the troops in a chaotic manner. Many of them fell into traps, as a consequence of which there was a breakthrough to a depth of over 70 kilometers. Russian forces are strengthening the front positions in the Kherson Oblast, while Ukrainian forces are conducting position attacks and continuing the campaign to seize strategic points on lines occupied by Russian troops. I have the impression that the Russian side disregards the Ukrainian side. Chaos reigns in the Russian army. Reconnaissance activities that can be carried out with the use of drones, satellites, or aviation are neglected. The front line in Ukraine stretches along a line of over 1,000 kilometers, almost as much as the eastern border of Poland. Maintaining constant military activity in such a vast area presents the Russian command with a huge strategic challenge. The Ukrainians are making good use of this by attacking the enemy's weakened positions. A number of towns have been recaptured. Many large Russian units have been broken up. Some Russian units are in danger of finding themselves in a cauldron or surrounded, so it is clear that here the Ukrainian side made good use of the past months, prepared for the strike, and carried it out smoothly. The effects of the Ukrainian counteroffensive in military terminology can be described as a cascade collapse of the front line. This means that all three enemy fortification lines have been broken. Ukrainian Foreign Minister Dmytro Kuleba is optimistic about the further course of the war. We have shown that we can defeat the Russian army. We are doing this thanks to the support of our partners. I repeat again, the more weapons we receive, the sooner this war will end. This will allow all of us to focus on new disputes. During yesterday's conference in Kiev, German Foreign Minister Annalena Baerbock, in an interview with Ukrainian Foreign Minister Dmitry Kuleba, confirmed that German military support would be transferred to Kiev for as long as necessary. Subsequent deliveries of equipment to the front may accelerate the prospect of ending the war in Ukraine. 21 years ago, on September 11, 2001, al-Qaeda terrorists hijacked 4 planes, 2 of which hit the buildings of the World Trade Center skyscrapers in New York City. The 3rd plane hit the Pentagon in Washington, D.C., while the 4th plane was supposed to hit the Capitol, but crashed in Pennsylvania after the heroic action of passengers. Nearly 3,000 people died that day, including 6 Poles. Americans came together today to honor the lives lost. Relatives read aloud the names of 2,977 victims to the thousands who had gathered on the cool, clear morning. Diane Massarali lost her husband, Michael Massarali, a 38-year-old vice president of operations for Cantor Fitzgerald. Michael Massarali was on floor 101 of One World Trade Center when he died 21 years ago. Financial services company Cantor Fitzgerald lost 658 employees on 9/11. 2/3 of its New York workforce.
I put on the TV in my son's room and we saw his One World Trade Center, fire. And my son said, "Isn't that Daddy's building?" And I said, "Yeah, but everything will be fine." I just rushed him, off to school. I figured let him be in school all day because I didn't know what I was gonna have to do. There's a build-up, over the summer, a little more anxiety every day, and to this point, and it's just always, an anxious day, and after the day's over, when I go home, then you're just physically exhausted, like you ran a marathon, and but yeah, no, never has changed at all. I thought, maybe it would get less. The people said that. Never. It's exactly the same. Yeah. The rest of the year, you go, you get by and all that stuff, but this time of year is exactly the same.
Sam Puglia, a retired Willow Springs, Illinois police chief, lost his cousin Thomas Casoria. Casoria was a firefighter who died in One World Trade Center, the so-called North Tower, during the 9/11 attacks.
It's a sad day. We all know we're exactly where we were when, we saw the second plane more often than not hit the building and going, what the heck's going on here now? And, when I got here September 22nd, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I mean, the news would show you some pictures, but, when I got a ride down there that night, it was like, hey, we're not in Kansas anymore, Toto. It was really a sad story.
It's kind of helps give maybe a little bit closure for me, and it's honor to my brother and to the other people who died on that day to be able to read their names out loud and to remember them today.
Janice Campbell, a founder and president of the Tri-State Canine Response Team, was at the 9/11 Memorial today serving as a crisis counselor along with other volunteers who came to share their dogs as therapy dogs for those who need support the most on this difficult day.
We're your crisis counselors, and we were asked to come to support the family members, the first responders, everyone involved with 9/11 to help them through the difficult time. We're here today to share our dogs, all our volunteers. They've been doing this and they know their job, and they can pick out the person who specifically needs them. So we let our dogs kind of guide us to the people, and then we find out they are the people who need them the most.
Thank you so much for joining us this evening. Please stay tuned for Poland Daily Weather, Poland Daily Business, and some of our other programs. But from me, is have a wonderful evening.